to do. I'm just being honest. I've prayed about this a good bit, and I know this is where the Lord is leading, but I'm going to be a little bit abrupt today. I'm not going to spend a lot of time hemming and hawing about stuff. I'm just going to kind of lay it out the way I think the Lord has been showing me. And I got to be honest, the stuff we talked about today is not for everybody. It's not. I'm talking specifically to the people in here, and it's for a good reason. Y'all, we don't have time to waste. We don't. And it is time. I'm going to ask y'all today that you need to decide something for yourself. Y'all know I have no position of authority in the church. I'm not a deacon, I'm not a trustee, Lord knows I'm not a pastor. I have no position of authority other than being your Sunday school teacher. And so it is not my place. I cannot and will not command any of you to do anything because it's not for me. But if you think the Lord has been using me, if you think the Lord has been sharing things with me, and that I have an idea of what the Lord's will is, then I'm asking you to consider the things I am saying today. All right? Because I want you to join me in this, because I think there is deeper for us. I think there are more things the Lord would have us doing. And I'm not going crazy, I promise you. At least I don't think I am. But then a crazy person would say that. So, but I have come to believe that the Lord is preparing us specifically. I mean, literally, my Sunday school class, I think He's preparing us to do more than we have been doing. And it's not just me. Everywhere I look, and the Lord does that sometimes, everywhere I look, I see more. I see other people doing more. I see examples all over the place of people doing more. And that's what I want us to talk about. Especially the people that have received much. So it's time. The Lord has been teaching us for a while that our trust needs to grow. We need to have more faith. We need to have, and not the church word faith. We need to have more confidence in Him. That He is going to show up and do the work. Because it ain't about us. If I say something good to somebody, that didn't start with me. You know, maybe I got out of the way and the Lord used me. But it's never about me. My job is to open my mouth and let the Lord do something. Same thing for y'all. But if we can expand our confidence, if we can start to trust Him more, and start putting our faith into action, I think you will start to see your world change. You'll see our church change, our community change. But we've got to start doing more. Because He is faithful and just. And He's going to meet our needs when we call Him. How many of y'all know that? All right. This is when you raise your hand, you shake your head, you do something. I've known y'all long enough to know y'all are in this with me. Thing is, He has not called us to be learners. He has called us to be doers. And y'all know what I'm talking about. How easy is it to sit here and listen to somebody teach and then never do a thing with it? I've seen that. Lord, I did it for years and years and years. It ain't right. I mean, it's good to sit and learn because you grow and it increases your faith. But if that is all you ever do is sit in a pew and you never use what the Lord has given you, That's wasted opportunity. And we cannot be a people that waste opportunity anymore. Jesus said to his disciples, "Therefore I tell you, I don't want you to worry about your life, about what you're going to eat, or about your body, what you're going to wear. I don't want you to worry about those things. Because life is more than food. And the body is more than the clothes you put on it. Consider the raisins. Think about the birds. They neither sow, they don't reap, they don't have a storehouse or a barn, and yet God feeds them. How often do the birds go hungry? Not often. Well, how much more value are you than those birds? Jesus didn't come and die for birds. God must have loved us a lot to send his son. Now, granted, we're on the other side of things, but really, of how much more value are you than those birds? And can any of you, by worry, add a single hour to your span of life? I can't. So if you're not able to do such a small thing as that, why are you worried about what you're going to eat or what you're going to drink? Does your worry do anything? It does not. And no, I'm wrong. It does. It robs you of time. It does. That's time that is wasted. Consider the lilies, how they grow. They don't toil. They don't spin. Yet I tell you, Solomon in all of his glory, he didn't have clothes like them. But if God so clothes the grass of the field, which is alive today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, how much more is he going to clothe you? Y'all don't have little faith. And I don't think he was demeaning them. He's saying, you can trust a lot more than you are. If God's going to take care of the birds and the plants like that, how much more do you think he's going to take care of you? How much more should you be able to trust him? So don't keep striving about what you're going to eat or what you're going to drink. And don't keep worrying, because it's the nations of this world that go after these things. And your Father, he knows you need them. He's not stupid. He knows you'll die of hunger if you don't have food. He knows this stuff. Instead, though, more important than any of these other things, you need to strive for his kingdom. You put his kingdom and what he wants first. And all these things that we've been talking about, they'll be given to you as well. You don't have to worry about them. Do not be afraid, my little flock, because it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. He wants to give you those other things. But more than that, he wants to give you his kingdom. The place where he rules. And come on, wouldn't that be good to live in his kingdom? So sell your possessions. Give alms. Make purses for yourselves that aren't going to wear out. An unfailing treasure in heaven where no thief will come near and no moth is going to destroy. You don't worry about those things that are going to last. Because where your treasure is, you know what? That's where your heart's going to be too. So y'all, and here we go. I need y'all to be dressed for action. You need to be ready to work. Have your lamps lit. Be like those that are waiting for their master to return from the wedding banquet. Because what they want to do, they want to open the door for him as soon as he comes. They're staring out the window, just waiting for him to show up. That's the kind of slave that is doing their master's business. Blessed are those slaves whom the master finds alert when he comes. Truly, I tell you, he's going to fasten his belt, and he's going to have them sit down to eat, and he's going to come and serve them. He's like, oh, thank y'all for doing what I've asked and for being so attentive to my work here. Let me reward you. Y'all sit down and eat, and I'll take care of this. That's what he's saying. Now, if he comes during the middle of the night or near dawn and he finds them so, blessed are those slaves, the ones that are out there working, doing what needs to be done. But know this, if the owner of the house had known at what hour the thief was coming, he wouldn't have let his house been broken into. You also must be ready, because the Son of Man is coming at an unexpected hour. We don't know how much time we have. And it's not just for us. There's a world out there that needs us, and we cannot waste time anymore. Peter said, Lord, are you telling this parable for us specifically, or is this a parable for everybody? And the Lord said, let me ask you a question. Who then is the faithful and prudent manager that the master's going to put in charge of his slaves to give them their allowance of food at the proper? Who's he going to put in charge of his stuff while he's gone? Blessed is the slave that his master will find doing what when he arrives? Y'all know? We'll find at work when he arrives. And that's what I'm talking about. We have work to do. Truly, I tell you, he will put that one in charge of all of his possessions. He's looking for his servants that he can trust to do his work. Y'all, that is who he is looking for. And that is who I want us to be. But if that slave says to himself, because you can say this, you know, my master, he ain't coming back for a while. He's delayed in his coming. And then he starts to beat the other slaves. Then he starts to take his authority for granted. And he starts behaving in a way he should not. And he gets to eat and drink and get drunk. Then the master of that slave is going to come on a day when he does not expect him. And at an hour that he does not know. And he's going to cut him in pieces and put him with the unfaithful. You're worse than somebody that doesn't even believe. If you have received this stuff and you start taking it, not just for granted, but using it maliciously. That slave who knew what his master wanted, but did not prepare himself or do what was wanted, will receive a severe beating. All right, so now, let's talk about this. We are the people that are here hearing this message. The Lord is telling us this is what he wants. We are informed. If we don't listen to this, we might get a severe beating. I'm just being honest with you. But the one that did not know and did what deserved a beating, he's going to get a light beating. You know, he didn't know any better. He still did wrong, but he did not know. We know now. Because, listen to this, from everyone to whom much has been given, and I think that's us, much will be required. And from the one to whom much has been entrusted, which again I think is us, even more is going to be demanded from them. The Lord has given us a lot. He expects us to do something with it. And I'm not talking miracles and stuff, but you know what I'm talking about? When we have new people up here that are in a struggle or in a bind, I think the Lord expects us to stand up beside them. And hopefully, because I'll want to do this. I was watching a video the other day, the Brooklyn Tabernacle, I've showed you it. And they're at the end of a service, and there were people coming up that wanted prayer. And there were members of the audience that got up, and they came, and they just put their hands on their shoulder, not a laying on the hand kind of thing, but they just stood up, put their hands on, and started to pray for them. These weren't deacons or trustees. This is just people. They stood up. And you know what? I don't know how to pray for you. I don't know what all your needs are. I don't know. But you know what? I can see God for you right now. And I think the Lord is calling us to be more like that. I'm serious. So y'all, there is a relationship between our faith and the work the Lord wants us to do. We will not be the people He uses if we are still the ones that worry, well, I don't know if He's going to work. We cannot be that people. So let me be blunt, and this is where I told you I might step on some toes. If you are not sure that God is going to take care of you, if you're not certain that God is good and faithful, then you're not ready for what I'm talking about right now. I'm not saying you were bad or evil or anything like that. What I'm saying is you need more. You need more wisdom. You need more experience with God to know that you can trust Him. But if you are like the people I know y'all are, if you can stand and say, you know what, I know God hears me. How many of y'all can say that? You better. You've seen it. How many of you know He moves when you call? I have seen Him work, and you know what? It's just always good. Even if it wasn't how I would have planned it. He has always done it the right way. If you're that person with that mindset, then you are somebody God can use more. You might be up for this challenge, and it's going to be a challenge because it's going to require you to get out of your comfort zone. Y'all know what your comfort zone is. Shoot, how many of y'all sit in the same exact spot every single week? Would it feel weird to sit in a different spot? Yeah, maybe a little. Y'all, we cannot be the people that live in our comfort zone. That's not who God is going to use. James says this, you know what? You need to be doers of the word and not merely hearers who they think it's enough. These hearers who deceive themselves. Well, you know what? I go to church every Sunday. All of us can say that. So what? I mean, forgive me for being blunt. So what? You go to church. Big whoop-de-doo. How has that changed your life? How has it made you act different? Because if anybody is a hearer of the word and not a doer, then they're like somebody that looked at themselves in a mirror and they looked at themselves and then they left and immediately forgot what they were like. You know what I'm talking about? You go up, you get out of the shower, you go in the bathroom, you look at your hair because you need to fix it, and it's a mess. And you just turn away and forget to comb it. That's a little on the stupid side. Same thing with hearing God's word and not making it a part of who you are. Not letting it change you and cause you to go forth and do. I'm not talking about works. I'm not talking about earning your way into heaven or anything like that. God said, my word will not return to me void. He's going to say things to you. And you know what? He expects His word to cause change. If God says be kind, you know what you should do? You should be kind. But the ones that look into the perfect law, the law of liberty, this law of freedom, because that's what we have, and they persevere, they keep going, being not hearers that forget, but doers who act. Listen to this. They will be blessed in what they're doing. I'm not going to say, I'm going to tell you this. You sit there on a pew and all you do is listen, you're going to get something, I hope. But God says He's going to bless the people that take His word and do it. You want more for yourself? You want more for this church, for this community? One of the secrets to this is you need to be doing things. Big things, little things, all of it matters. In one place, Jesus said, somebody that gives a glass of water to a prophet in the name of a prophet gets a prophet's rewards. What is it to get somebody a glass of water? Well, in the eyes of the Lord, it is something. If somebody comes in here and you have a kind word for them, that is you doing the word. Gene is up there leading singing. Miss Nancy is playing. And you sit back there and you just twiddle your thumbs while half the congregation sings. Is not you doing the word. You have an opportunity to sing. You sing the best you can with all of your heart. And notice I'm not saying with talent. Y'all probably hear me back there. I know I have no talent to sing, but I will sing every time because God is worthy. That's enough. Do I love God? Yes, I do. Am I going to sing? Yes, I am. Now, if it's new, I might struggle with it. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try. We do not have the luxury of picking and choosing when we do the Lord's work. It's like they tell us as a teacher, you're always on. You are always a teacher, whether you're at school or you're at Walmart. You're always on display. Y'all, we are always on display. It's time to start acting like we believe that. All right, so the next level. And this is what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that what I'm talking about is the Lord's calling for your life. No, I ain't saying that. But if you choose to pursue this challenge, and I think it is a challenge, then I think it is His call for you right now. I think He is putting something in front of you saying, if you will engage in this, I'm going to show you how to have more, how to do more. You can start seeing the possibilities of what your faith could be. What I want us to do, I want us to start looking at what we can do. And in the Lord's name, for His people, because I think there's stuff we can do. So I'm going to ask you to step out of your comfort zone, because the blessings are not in your comfort zone. They're not. The reward is worth the sacrifice. I heard the Lord tell me this one time. The reward is worth the sacrifice. And I believe that's true. If you don't put something out there, then you cannot expect to get something in return. So, ask yourself, is it really faith if you don't put your trust in it? You see God do something, and you don't act like it's God doing it. Was that really faith? I don't think it was. And I'm almost done, I promise, at least for today. So I'm asking y'all to do something I have already done. And I'm going to tell y'all a story. And I'm deadly serious about this. So ask yourself, has the Lord been working on you the last 2-3 years? Has the Lord been working on you? I think so. Has He been working in you? Yeah, I think so. Have you grown spiritually? Have you grown in the last few years? Have you changed for the better? I think so. Why? Why did God do that for you? Why does He teach you things? Why does His Word come? Why is it so important? What's the purpose? I think He's trying to make things better for you, for your life, and not just for you. But I think God believes in trickle-down economics. Y'all think I'm crazy. But the idea of trickle-down economics is you give it to the rich, and the rich are going to use the people underneath them, and it's going to flow to all the people. God, in His mercy and in His grace, blesses His people. Do the people withhold it from everybody else? No. It's supposed to be spread. And that is what God is doing. He is working to improve your lives, to make them better. But He also expects you to go out into this world and be a light. To share that grace. To share that blessing. To share salvation. He doesn't expect you to have it bottled up. Now go out there and do something. So, y'all, if you're not doing everything you can with what He's given you, you might need to re-examine things. Because there is a limited amount of time out there. And people need what the Lord has been doing with you. So I'm going to tell this story. And I'm about done. I had to choose. I'm going to tell you about how I ended up here at Mount Zion. It's not the greatest story. And you know what? There are things I could have handled better. Just be honest with you. I was going to a church that I loved. You know what? I still love it. I have nothing but good things to say about the church I came from. I had been there for 30-something years. It was home. And it was. The Lord started telling me things, though. Things I struggled with. He said, you know what? I have been working with you for a reason. I have been doing stuff in your life. And He had. He says, there are people that need what I can do with you. And I wrestled with this because I was in a good place. The people I went to church with, they loved the Lord. They were kind and generous. They had the worship that I enjoyed. I mean, it was my comfort zone. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Everything fit perfect. But I saw where the Lord was leading me to. And it was a struggle for me because He was asking me to give up what I had. The comfort, the security, for what could be. I mean, just the possibility of better. He's saying, I need you to give up, be willing to give up all the easy for something that could be better. And I took some time and I prayed about it. And I told Smushy about my decision, because at that time we were going to different churches. And I told her, I said, you know what, I don't know what this is going to look like. Or even where I end up, because I wasn't sure. What I was going to do was, my first Sunday, I was going to come here. And then after that, I was going to see wherever the Lord led me, because I didn't know where He was leading. But I told us, I know He's calling me to do this. I have to. So I stepped out, and forgive me now, but I think that was faith. Because, Lord, it hurt. So I left my church. And I sent an email to the pastors explaining why, because honestly, I didn't think they would understand. And I probably could have handled that better, but that's what I did. And I started coming to Mount Zion. And this is where I think it gets interesting, because I'm going to say this not because of anything from me. I want you to see that God did intervene. The first Sunday I came to Mount Zion after I left, literally, inside of 7 days, the first Sunday I came to Mount Zion after I left my church, I was asked to teach the Sunday school class. That Sunday, the first day I wasn't at my regular church. And it wasn't just, I need you to teach it once. It was, we need you to be the Sunday school teacher. How in the world does that make any sense? It's your first day away from a different church that you've gone to for 30 years. Who in their right minds asks that person to be a Sunday school teacher? Does that make any sense? Because it did not make any sense to me unless God was involved. I had never, not once, taught a Sunday school class before. I had taught high school for, at that time, about 7 or 8 years. Never taught at church. 2 or 3 times as a Christian, over 30-something years, I had taught a lesson on faith. But now, I'm asked to teach a Sunday school class. And so here I am now, stepping out into what I pray God could do with me. And I still have that same mind. And on day one, I'm asked that was not a coincidence. It was not an accident. I stepped out because I believed God was working. I'm asking y'all to do the same. I'm not asking you to leave your church. But I'm asking you to start considering what God could do with you. What God would like to do with you. And how God can use you to minister to other people. I didn't step out just because God was working. I stepped out because I thought God was going to work. God worked because I believe. And you know what? The more I trust, the more He works. I know I'm running out of time. And now I'm learning that this is a huge key for His people. This is a huge key for you. You need to step out because you know God is going to work. You have experience. You know in the past He has. Do you expect Him to continue to do what He has been doing? Then it is time to step up your game. Y'all, we have to lean into what He is doing for us to see His work in us grow. This relationship between us and God is something that can grow. And if we will trust Him enough to step out and do it, you know what? He's going to show up and do it. And there's a whole lot more, but I'm out of time. I will say this. I love y'all. Y'all can come to my Sunday school class every time. But this is where I think we're headed. Is we're going to start talking about more and what that looks like. Because if we want things to change, y'all, if we don't change, then this world is not going to change. Mount Zion is not going to change. It starts with us. It needs to happen. So please, if you're up for this, I pray you are, start seeking the Lord. Lord, help me. Help me be ready for change. Show me what I can do. We're going to start talking about this stuff. So that's it. That's all I've got. Does anybody have anything y'all need to say? Any questions, comments? I hope I didn't step too harshly on people, but we got to grow. And the Lord is calling us. It is time. And if we're not pressing forward, we are falling behind. This world resists us. And you cannot just stand in one place and think, oh, I'm good here. If you're not pressing into the Lord, then the world is going to drag you backwards. Let us be the people that press. All right, well, if nobody else has anything to say, we'll pray and be dismissed. If y'all will bow your heads with me. Father, we love you, we honor you, we thank you. This is right. I know it is, and I know this is good in your sight. So I ask your blessing upon my class right now. Pour out your Spirit upon us and refresh us. And make us a people who lean into whatever it is you're doing. And give us opportunity. Show us where we can minister to each other. Where we can show love and kindness and patience. Oh Lord, gentleness and meekness and all those things that you would do in us. Help us show that to each other. And then when people come in with needs, let us not be a people that look down with condescension. But hey, here's somebody who is in a place I was in. Let me help them. No, I don't know what I need to do, but I can show them love. I can show them mercy and compassion. I can be a kind person. And have a smile for them when this world would beat them up. Give us humility and make us of low minds and humble hearts and make us people that you will use. Show us how to step out of our comfort zone, but step into the places where you are working and let us see what you will do. Oh, Father, the ones that have trusted you are the ones that have seen you work. Joshua and Caleb had to wait for 40 years to enter the promised land, but they knew you were going to show up and work, and they saw it. Let us have the same heart and mind as them, that you will do this, and we will trust you. Be with us today, be with our service, be with Don as he brings us your word, as Jean and Miss Nancy lead us in worship. Be with our offering, be with us as a people, and may your will be done. Oh, Father, it is in the name of your Son, Jesus, we come, and we ask all these things. And everybody said, Amen. All right. Thank you.
Hey everybody, it's Tony again. Let me ask you a question. Do you have questions that you would like answered? Do you want advice on spiritual things? Because I want to help. I really would. I'd like to help you if I can. Now, let me be honest. I can't promise that I can solve every problem you have or that I can meet your every need because that's not going to happen. I can't. Um, and if I told you I could, it would be a lie. But I'm not going to lie to you. What I can promise is that if you ask me for something, then I'm going to at least pray about it for you. And, I'll try and help if I can, but, if I can. Um, if you would like my prayers or my advice or to talk about scriptural things or anything like that, what I want you to do is to text me or email me at hegavemeastory@gmail.com. No spaces, no nothing, just all one word. Hegavemeastory@gmail.com. Now, there are some specific instructions to make sure I get it. So, what I need you to do to make sure and put help shared faith either in the subject line or in the body of the text. Um, Shared Faith is just the name of my Facebook page. And it's the filter that is going to send that email straight to me. Because if you don't put help shared faith in there, there's a good possibility I won't get it for weeks or months, um, if ever. And I don't want that to happen. So please make sure you put help shared faith either in the subject or the body of the text. And that's all I really have to say about that. I do want to say thank you for coming, for listening to the things I have to say, and for giving me the opportunity to present what I think God wanted me to talk about. Um, I know that sounds a little presumptuous, but I really feel like he leads me in these things. And I just wanted to share. So thank you for coming. And I pray that God really does bless you and your life, and that he works to build you up and to make things better, to fill you with love and joy and happiness and all these wonderful things. I love you. God bless you. And hopefully we'll talk again soon. Thank you very much.